What's up, guys? M.V.K here, back again. Uh, and this was something I wanted to talk about too because I just forgot to talk about it. But yeah, let's do it, shall we? Let's talk about it. And that is my thoughts on Mortal Kombat 1, the whole concept. Now, before I go into my thoughts on Mortal Kombat 1, I want everybody to know that I'm speaking from a perspective of playing a little bit, but watching more of it, watching the entirety of it, thanks to a YouTuber that I've subscribed to. I only played a little bit of it and what I like about it, but the problem is, here's the thing. Your boy don't have a PS5, okay? And or Xbox Series, still working on the next gen systems. It's not a big priority to me, but there are other things more important than having the latest gaming system. Even though, yes, I am a gamer, so let's put that out there. I did watch the story mode, the whole thing, and things like that. So, having said that, the story mode is very good. I would probably say this is probably out of all the Mortal Kombats that have done the iconic story mode, because let's be real, now more than ever, when a new Mortal Kombat game or any kind of game under NetherRealm comes out, that's what people are more interested in. What's the story gonna be? They want to watch and play the story mode. So with that being said, yes, the story was good. I liked the weaving of Liu Kang telling us, the viewers, the gamer, of the prior, what he's done, what he did. Let's get that right out. Was Liu Kang a good protector of Earth? Yes, he was. He did practically everything better than Raiden did. Yeah, he kept some secrets from people, but outside of that, he was very much what I loved about it was when he showed up, he never came in all like he would like come down and appear in a ball of fire and thing. You would see him walk in, he'd walk out. He never teleported in anywhere. He was still grounded in a sense, even though he had this immense power. He still stayed humble and grounded, which I like. I love his friendship with Garrus. I love that they gave Garrus more of a story and more of a character development than he had in Mortal Kombat 11. Because there he was just Kronika's servant with no true, purpose in my. Here he had a purpose, and I really enjoyed that. The concept of this new world was very interesting, which I have to talk about. From the Lin Kuei starting out being kind of Earth's realm secret protectors. That was their duty until later on, Bihan starts getting a little full of himself and feeling like, Earth is being protected, or feeling like they're being underutilized under Liu Kang. And you got Kuai Liang, who is Scorpion, which I will get to on that. How do I feel about that? And of course, Smoke, their adopted brother, being under the Lin Kuei. So I talk about that as well. Johnny Cage in this probably felt more like the Johnny Cage of old, or in a sense, this Johnny Cage felt a little bit more like Lindsay Ashby's Johnny Cage from the first Mortal Kombat movie, where he's an actor, but he's kind of, nothing's really kind of going for him. So he has to prove himself by, getting into a fight and things like that. And of course, him trying to still live up the luxury of what he has, but realizing that he doesn't really have it. The jobs that he's getting are more, out of a favor to him. And we saw that in this kind of Indiana Jones-esque martial art movie he was in his story, which was interesting. And then of course when he meets, you know, his wife, he was married in this world, and so it makes you wonder where that's going to lead to. And here she kind of tells him, you know, you're starting to become too much like, I didn't marry. I love that line what she wrote, what they wrote for her. I didn't marry Johnny Cage. I married his, you know, because there are actors that have a stage name, and they talk about his real name, John Carlton. You know, so I'm like, oh, that was good. And of course, then enters Kenshi Takahashi. Kenshi, another one of my favorites. So shouts out to Noah Flater, who was the model for him. Shouts out to him and Gemma Nguyen, because I love both of them, and I'm so happy for them. So now when I watch like Gameology and I rewatch Gameology videos that have them on it, I always say Princess Kitana and Kenshi now. I'm so happy for them. I was so happy for them to get those parts, because if you don't know who the models of those characters are, yeah. But yeah, and then we get more into this world's Kenshi, where his bloodline is, they had to go under a different name, and also being said that being under that name, getting protection by the Yakuza and things like that, and but he wants to get out of it and be able to help his people, but he needs his famous sword Sendo, which Johnny had. So that was intriguing. But even with that, and then you got Raiden, now human. He has that balance of that. I like the balance that he had. He kind of reminded me of old school Liu Kang, very noble and honorable, and Kung Lao still as brash and arrogant. Like, it doesn't matter the timeline, doesn't matter. Kung Lao is just brash and arrogant, and it's just like, where the, and why would you think you would be the champion if the champion of Earth, if you're still being that arrogant and things like that? It was just a constant, like, oh my God, he's still just as arrogant. I like that I guess you can say they gender swapped Bo Rai Chow, because they kept calling. I believe they did it because there's a character in this that the boys learned under Luke, Raiden and Kung Lao, and she called Madam Bo, and I'm like, did they in this Earth? Did they gender swap Bo Rai Chow? You know, it makes me interested about that. But yeah, it was very good. And of course, you knew in terms of once they get to the tournament side, and we understand what the tournament is about, and it is very interesting. And it's very interesting to see that how good Earthrealm has been compared to Outworld. And I thought that was very interesting. I immediately thought that when they asked Liu Kang, like, so what is our record? And pretty much Liu Kang basically said, we've been beating them ever since. Like, and I'm like, wow, you would have thought, I thought they may have kept the kind of the traditional, like, you know, Outworld has been dominating Earthrealm, but no, it's a different story. So that was interesting to see that they did that, and seeing Melina and Kitana and I was about to say Tiffany, Tanya, Lee May, and of course Queen Sindel was great. I mean, I love this version of Sindel. That was the one thing I was also praying in this game. I'm like, please do not make her, she's a witch or she's just bad. But no, she was actually noble and very, you know, graceful as well. But she could be very dangerous, and I like that. I made this very much of. I made this very openly about. I hated what they did with Sindel in the last game when they did that DLC, where basically he was saying she was always evil. No, that's, I hate that they retconned that. I was like, no, she was not always evil. So here, I think they kind of got it right, and they were just like, okay, we're going to change that for the better. Sure, they keep they do keep the connection of Melina and Tanya having an affection for each other, and I love that. I love of course, the Umgadi, which basically Mortal Kombat's version of the Dora Milaje. Basically, you know, them Mr. Boone and them, saying, okay, that's cool. I want to have something like that. Lee May, played by Kelly Hu. I love that Kelly Hu is a mainstay in Mortal Kombat. She's voiced some very interesting. Of course, she was Deborah's voice, so to see her play Lee May and to see her story arc, Lee May's story arc was great. After the tournament, of course, seeing, Shao, and not Shao Kahn, he's just a general in the army, but still arrogant, brash. When he looked at Raiden, he's like, yeah, Earth Realms are getting scrawny and scrawny until you beat them. I love how they explain how Raiden could do lightning, so that was also interesting. I was glad to see they brought Reiko back. Reiko was interesting to see back. That was cool. And then once they start getting into the forefront of the main story, that somebody's messing with this timeline, that whatever Liu Kang has done, then you start getting to the heart of it. And I love the whole concept of we see that Baraka has always been like a punching bag. He was always like foot soldier. You just beat him up, and that's how his story was. Here they really give Baraka a story, and you really feel for him as a character. You're like, Tarkakans that's not a race, it's a disease, and over time it's going to turn him into like a bloodthirsty berserker. And I thought that was really interesting and cool to see. Same thing with Reptile. I was glad Reptile got this new arc, this new character arc for him, where Zatarans, he's kind of looked at by his own people as a freak because he can turn human. But we find out, if you do his ending, you see that that doesn't make him a freak. All Zatarans could do that. They all have a show there they can go human, which is really interesting. But I love I love Reptile's story arc in this. It was really good. I'm not going to spoil too much in terms of like what you see in it, but I loved it. I thought it was great. Why he is with Shang Tsung for a while, and then you see the turnaround, which is great. Each character, some of them had just really good story arcs. From even Astra, she has this very interesting storyline in terms of her purging her demonic side and becoming more human, that she wants to become more human and purge her evil side. And she explains it to the guys too. She was like, I thought that there was nothing else beyond the nether realm, and then I saw Earth Realm, and I'm like, and she was intrigued by that, and she's like, oh my God, I wish I can go there and be a part of it. And she wants to find her way, but also knows that she can't do it without purging herself of this. And even when you see her, you look at her like, well, she looks borderline human as it is. Just her eyes are black, and she's got markings, and a lot of her sister demons don't like her for that. Of course, old Quan Chi is in it. I'll spoil that, but I won't tell you other things. And we start to see more and more that the timelines have been messed up and ruined. It's interesting to see how Kenshi becomes blind. I won't ruin that as well. But it's different than in the previous timelines. But I do love that when they reach Liu Kang even says, he even kind of hints at it. He says, "Oh, you're blind. I tried to prevent this time." And Kenshi picks up. He's like, "This time?" I love when Kenshi has Sendo, and he starts learning about the sword. I love how he is able to see. I will spoil this. Like he kind of his being able to see reminds me of Daredevil. Like he can kind of, which is really cool, and I love that. I was like, ooh, that's pretty cool how he sees. Um, but I love the friendship that develops between Johnny and Kenshi throughout this. And then when it comes to and then when it comes to Scorpion and Sub-Zero, who are brothers in this, and we kind of see, I know a lot of people are like, man, I'm tired of seeing Bihan be bad or anything like that, and because they're always going to bring up Mortal Kombat mythology. He wasn't bad in that and everything. But Bihan has always been power hungry. That's the problem. He's always been power hungry. And to see in this game that nothing has changed about him in that being wanting power, he kind of betrays his own brother. And when he finds out, when Kuai Liang, who is the Scorpion here, finds out why he did it and how he did it, it's just like it's another shot in the gut. But you can clearly see throughout this whole game, Bihan has no love for Smoke. He has no love for Smoke. He doesn't even consider him a brother. They're not blood related, but their father took Smoke in as a kid and made him like a family. And while Kuai Liang is, we're not. He even says it. You've probably seen the trailer. They're like, we are, we actually get to see Kuai Liang get his scar on his eye. I'm not gonna ruin where he gets it. Who gives it to him too? But it's very, very interesting to see that happen, and you're like, God damn, like, and you get to see just a lot of different aspects of the story. The story goes from, in my opinion, the story goes from 0 to 100. That it starts slow and then it just starts. That the plot picks up really well, and I love that. I even love when Liu Kang explains to Queen Sindel and all of them that, look, I gotta be honest with you. I gotta tell you some things that you don't know. I am kind of your creator in a sense. I gave you these lives to try to be better at it. Like, and a lot of them are just like, wait, what? Like shocked and a little upset, but knowing that, but Liu Kang tries to explain, and I love how he explains it. He's like, in this timeline, you were this, or he tries to tell them certain things, and that's why you see whenever they do like the he starts, if you look at all the intros, some of them say, what was I like in this world? And, they're like, well, you weren't that good or something like that. Tanya she's like, what was the other Tanya's like? And he kind of hush. But I love the aspect of the Titans. And of course we get to see more things from other Titans and other Earths and things like that are very connected. And I thought it was handled really, really well. They do play up the Deadly Alliance. They do play up Onaga. They talk about Onaga, and it seems to be, if they do more sequels in this era, Onaga is going to be a big threat in this, and I'm looking forward to that. Excuse me. In terms of what do I think of Kuai Liang being Scorpion in this world, I'm fine with it. I didn't hate it. I know there's a lot of people that hate it or don't like it. Like, oh, where's Hanzo Hasashi? I will say this. I'll spoil a little bit. Hanzo Hasashi is in this world, and he is a part of the newly founded Shiryu. We do get that at the end. But Hanzo is in this world, so he is in this world. Even his wife, Harumi, is in this world. But I will spoil, she's married now to Kuai Liang. So, and I'll spoil this, Hanzo in this world, he's still just a little kid. He's still young, but he's training under the Shiryu. So he's like their star pupil, and I like that. I loved how they explained, they try to kept everybody held secrets. That was the one thing about this game also that played up. Secrets. Secrets being, and what will happen if you don't what happens if you keep secrets from how they treated Tarkakans, people who had the Tarkakan disease, how they treated them, but look how they treated Melina, in terms of she had the same disease, but they kept it under wraps and they hid it from the people. From Lee May going through her story arc of feeling guilty that it was Jarrett that died under her watch when she was the leader of I'm about to say Dora Milaje of the Ungadi. There's just a lot of just that it moves so well, and that's something I loved about it. It just it the pacing and everything, to even how the villains came together. Speaking of which, villains wise, Natara, I gotta call all these haters and people out. I'm so sick and tired of reading people just bashing the fact that Megan Fox played this role. Oh my God, grow the fuck up. Oh my God, grow up. She voiced a character. Did it hurt the character that Megan Fox's voice was coming out? No, it didn't. Why? You make it such a big deal. You make it such a problem when there is no problem. Did I like that Ronda Rousey voice Sonya in the last Mortal Kombat? Not really. I felt like they didn't need to change her. And I'll say this right now. Trisha Heffer should have stayed Sonya. But if they do consider bringing Sonya back as a playable character, and I'll get to that too, I hope they really get the actress, they get the real person that she is modeled after. For those who don't know, they got Jean-Claude Van Damme to come to do a skin for Johnny Cage. They need to get the real actress for Sonya Blade, and it's not Ronda Rousey. For anybody who doesn't know, the real queen who is the forefront for Sonya, that goes to Cynthia Rothrock, one of the queens of martial artists, actresses. Y'all don't know about her. She was a badass, and she still is one. That's where Sonya is really from, and I would not mind if she came to voice her. So yes, there are some things about it I hate, but overall the story was great. I loved it, and just seeing that Liu Kang feels that his champions, and he says, and that's the one thing, it's not just champion, his champions. He looks at Johnny, Kuai Liang, Kung Lao, Kenshi as his champions. So it's not just Raiden. So I really enjoyed that too. So yes, I enjoyed that. But with that being said, yeah, there are some things that I wish. I feel, to me, keeping the First Lady of Mortal Kombat out of the story, I did not like that. That's one thing I did not like. I did not like that. And this isn't the first time Sonya has not been in the game. I mean, she wasn't in Mortal Kombat. I don't think she was in Mortal Kombat 3, and she wasn't in Mortal Kombat 2. But at the end of the day, she's the First Lady of Mortal Kombat. You can't just leave her out of it. And you can say, well, Chris, she's a cameo character. I don't mind those cameo fighters, but I want her in the game. She should have been in this. So hopefully they do the next one. She's in the story. She's there. Her, Jax, people like that. And it already kind of shows in the game that Kenshi is working with Jax. And in this, Jax is a CIA agent in this. So that's certain things that are changed. I like some of the changes. It doesn't hurt. You want to make this world maybe a little somewhat different from the previous Earths, and I like that. Melina, I even like that she's kind of I can't spoil it. See, I can't spoil it. I don't want to spoil that. But I will say this: it is interesting to see Melina being Melina, but still being noble. So I will say that. Um, the other thing that I will talk about, I would like to say is um, what's to come. I hope, if they do another one, yeah, the story can continue. We see more characters. I hopefully most of those cameo fighters will be main characters. I know we have a DLC fighter coming, and we're gonna get Takeda in there, who is gonna be completely different. Quan Chi, people like that. I could care less about the guest characters like Homelander and all those characters. I people ask me that all the time. Like, do you care about that? I don't. I really don't. If you're gonna add new characters, DLC characters, it should be characters from the Mortal Kombat alumni. Forget every. I've said it before. There's only really one character, outside character, that I would not mind being a part of the Mortal Kombat universe, and that is Kenshiro from Fist of the North Star. He would be perfect for this world. Outside of that, I really don't care. I really don't. I just don't. I really don't care. I understand they sell, but I just don't care. But yeah, a straight 8 out of 10 in terms of the story. I've watched, the fatalities are great. But just overarching, the story is just great. Characters that you've seen in previous games that just felt like the punching bags or the underlings. They get a real good shine in this. I like that. Like I said, Baraka, Reptile, they all get a better shine in this that works. Now, yes, there is gonna be the battle between the Lin Kuei and the Shiryu. We see it. It is coming. It is coming, and it's like almost like that's something that no matter what, you can't change. And even though Liu Kang tried to change a lot of things to put people on a different path, it just didn't work. And I love there sometimes where in the intros, people tell like Kuai Liang, you are the first Kuai Liang Scorpion, and he says, what was I like in the other worlds? And you were Sub-Zero. And it's stuff like that. I wasn't mad that they kind of went right and said, yeah, Liu Kang changed this world. I know there's probably going to be people that felt they rushed that. Maybe they should have left that to maybe a second game or something like that. But I don't mind that. I don't mind it at all. I really don't. I think it was cool. But whatever they do with the sequel, and I will do another video on that, like what do I want in Mortal Kombat MK2? It just sounds weird to say that. I'll talk about that. But two of the biggest thing is Sonya being a playable character, like Sonya being in the game. Because I didn't like that. That's like me. That's like a Street Fighter game without the First Lady, Chun-Li. Mortal Kombat, you gotta show respect to the First Lady, Sonya. But yeah, it was great. The action was great. The suspense was there. The meaning of certain characters, and when you get a hint at, oh, they brought that back. That's cool. It was great. It was really good. But there are characters. I mean, there are nods to other characters. For example, there are nods to Devora's race. Goro's in it, but he's not a big player. Same thing with Motaro. They're in it, but they're not. They're in the story mode too. But other than that, yeah, they're not really a part of it. So I will say this. Overall thoughts on Mortal Kombat 1, great. Very good. I have nothing but respect. But the fact of the matter is, yes, guys, I couldn't really play it as much as I wanted, and I really wanted to watch the story. And this time I was just impatient. I just had to, So shouts out to Fire and Ice. for putting up the story mode, so I get to see, you know, the story and like it and see where it goes. You know, I don't, you know, it just, I find, I wish they did come out with a version for the previous systems, like PS4 or something like that, because it's just like that. I'm sure PS4 could have handled that. You know, I know they wanted it because it's only out for PS5, Xbox Series, and Switch got a Switch of all systems got a version, and from what I understand, it is not that good. But yes, guys, that is my thoughts on Mortal Kombat 1. Looking forward to if they do a sequel. And hopefully they do put Sonya in it. And I don't mind if they keep these cameo characters, but the cameo characters to me should be just playable characters. You could just, I don't, it's just, that was just kind of weird to me a little bit, you know, it's, because seeing that just was like, well, Frost is here. I would love to have been able to play with Frost. Sonya Blade's here. I would love to play with Sonya Blade. Jax. You know, I'm not that big of a Striker fan, but I know I got friends that are Striker fans, and I know they probably would want to play with Striker. You know, I can't stand Kano, but I know some people that love Kano. So yes, there are some things that I wanted, but outside of that, it was great. Well, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this. And I will see you guys next time. Thank you, my pack. But yeah, I wish I could have played the story, and you know, I would have put it up on the channel, but I can't because I don't have a PS5. There are more important things than getting that right now. I mean, it's bad enough I won't be able to have a PS5, and Spider-Man 2 is out. I want to play that too, and I may be patient and not watch anybody who puts up the story mode, because I still may put that up. If I get a PS5 before that, even after the game is out, I will still probably upload my reaction to the story, because I'm gonna stay away from that game. This I needed to see it because I was too curious, and I loved what I saw. But I talked enough, guys. You guys take care. Deuces.